We're back. I get the feeling we're about to close. We're about to wrap up this story. Just as a minor refresher. Wheezing my lungs out, I'd descended the deserted stairway to the top floor. I made my way through the unattended lobby into the planetarium before I took a breather at the gargantuan device that had jumped into my sight. Woo-wee, that is quite the run-on sentence. It was Noah 2 in all its majesty, surrounded by a chilly air, robbing me of my warmth. A piece of art stood beside Noah 2.
Rimi.
Rimi. Remy, affixed to the art piece, slowly raised her head at my voice. Our eyes met. Her eyes shot open. Why?
どうして。君を助けに。
I'm here to save you. Her eyes began to swim. Baka. Baka. You're such a baka. She shook her head sadly.
そんなキスだらけになって。
Getting yourself hurt so badly. Yeah, I don't even know how the fuck, I don't know how Takami's gonna win this with his injuries.
そんな無茶して。
Pushing yourself so hard. Well, it wasn't exactly his choice, right? I mean, who could have seen the 100 fucking Ceratons coming at him? That was a little unfair and a little unexpected.
待っててって言ったのに。
You know, I told you to wait for me. なんで? Because I've fallen in love with you. I'm in love with you, Remy. But I couldn't say that out loud. I couldn't say anything heroic like I'm here to save you because I'm in love with you, not with how I was, not with me covered in blood and completely flattened arm. That's pretty nasty. My current state was as far from Prince Charming as humanly possible. If I said something like that now, it'd probably look creepy as hell. That'd put me closer to a stalker than anything, really. If I spilled my guts to her in some speech that didn't let her get a word in, it would just put her way off. She was going to live, and I was going to die. Having some dead man walking conveys feelings on a whim would have left a horrible taste in her mouth. So I bottled it all in.
意味にこれを返したくて。
I want to give this back, Remy. My right hand was still weak. It was the hand I'd been using to hold my DI sword. Desperately forcing my fingers to move, I reached inside my jacket pocket and pulled out a handkerchief. It was colored a gentle vermilion. Whether that was its original hue or due to my blood staining it, I didn't know. Remy had given it to me, though its floral aroma had long since expired. That handkerchief was one of several precious memories she'd given me.
僕は君をここから助け出して。
I'm gonna get you out of here.
ノア2を壊して。
I'm gonna destroy Noah too.
このハンカチを返すんだ。
And I'm gonna give you back your handkerchief. That was all I was capable of doing. If I managed to achieve it all, I could die with no regrets. Besides, there wasn't much else I could do. In my mind, every sense of mine had gone numb a long time ago. I imagined that the reason for that was because the pain was so severe my brain had no choice but to start blocking the sensations transmitted by whatever nerves were responsible. I didn't know the brain could do that. So it would be like how caffeine blocks the sleep chemical, but like your brain releases a chemical to block the pain chemical. I didn't know that was possible, but I feel like that'd be highly exploited in surgeries, especially. I could barely move, my arm continued to bleed, my vision was blurry. I was incredibly cold. I had a feeling that if I wasn't careful, I'd lose consciousness right then and there.
君は実に勇敢ですね。
My, you're quite the gallant one. A towering man emerged from behind Noah 2, Norase Genichi. Facing me, he clapped sarcastically with no clear expression on his face.
しかし致命的なことが一つあります。
There is, however, one fatal flaw present in your character.
行動原理が感情に根ざしているということです。それは野蛮人のすることだ。
What calls you to action is rooted in bare emotion, something I would attribute far more to barbarism rather than anything noble. I had no idea what he was getting at. Took everything he had just to bear the pain, so aside from Remy, I didn't have any brain power left to try and comprehend what anyone was saying.
逃げて。
Taku, run away.
小を犠牲にして大の利益を守る。
Sacrificing the needs of the few for the needs of the many.
それを悪だと思いますか？
Would you think that to be evil?
私はそうは思いません。
I certainly would not myself.
このままでは人類はいずれ滅び去る。
With the world on its current course, mankind will undoubtedly meet its end
人の欲望によってです。
by way of their own desires.
あまりにも醜い心、
Our hearts are beyond repugnant.
あまりに利己的な欲望の洪水。
The world is inundated by an unfathomable account of excessively self-serving desires. I mean, he's not wrong, but what does this have to do with Noah 2? What does this have to do with creating earthquakes in the middle of Shibuya?
人の社会はすでに破綻し、腐り落ちようとしています。
The society of man has long since collapsed, left now to wallow in its own decay. I don't know. I think we're pretty far away from that. Maybe in 100 years you can make that argument, but like, come on. How's accelerating the process? How's that any better?
誰もが己のことしか考えず、その結果殺し合い、奪い合っています。
Each person thinks of only themselves. Crimes such as theft or murder rob all form of agency. Yet this is of no concern to the individual.
君もギガロマニアックスとして覚醒したのなら見たはずですよ。人の心の本質を。
If you too awakened as a gigalomaniac, then you must have seen it, the true nature of the hearts of men.
私は幼い頃に覚醒したため、もう何十年という間、それを見てきた。
I've seen it for decades, having awakened myself at a very young age, so you're the gladiole in this scenario.
300人委員会は人類の自滅を阻止するためという大義名分のもと、世界人間牧場計画を推し進めてきました。
In the eyes of the Committee of 300, the continued progression of the worldwide human domestication project is all for the heroic aim of halting mankind's self-destruction.
けれどそれも所詮、彼らのエゴを満たすものでしかない。
Yet even that pretext exists simply to stroke their own egos.
私が目指すのはそんなものではありません。
What I seek is something else.
悟ったのですよ。
I once came to a
こ
realization.
の腐った世界を再生するためには、社会のシステムを変えるのではなく、
To breathe life into this diseased world, it is not the system governing society that requires changing.
世界中すべての人間の心を変える必要があるのだと。
It is the hearts of all mankind.
そのためのプロジェクトノアです。
Thus Project Noah came to be.
ノア2があれば世界中すべての人間から負の妄想を消し去り、清廉な心へと漂白できます。
Through Noah 2, the hearts of all men throughout the world will be bleached clean as their negative delusions are effaced.
争いは消え、世界に永遠の平和を与えることができます。
Conflict will be no more. The world will see eternal peace.
君も誰かに蔑まれることもなくなるでしょう。
Even someone such as yourself will no longer face disdain. Finally, his novel-length monologue came to a close. My body was on the verge of collapse, so I desperately planted my feet. At least I got a bit of a break. That's the only reason I was still standing.
あんたの言ってることは
What you're saying
もしかしたら
is
正しい
probably
かもしれない。
right. I hadn't really been paying much attention, but in regards to the future of humanity, he was definitely right. His ideals were entirely righteous. He was the president of a sprawling corporation. His eye was aimed solely on justice for the whole of mankind. Me, meanwhile, was a monster, a virgin, an otaku freak, a selfish, ego-driven wannabe who just wanted to save some girl he liked and didn't give a shit about anyone else. Normally that'd make me the bad guy through and through. The monster would then be slain and justice would prevail. But
僕は
I am not
あんたには
gonna
負けられ
lose
な
to
い。
you.
なぜ否定するのです？
Why do you deny what is strictly in front of you?
ただの自己満足だ。
Just for my own selfish satisfaction.
残念です。
My, how unfortunate that is. His gaze locked onto me. Norase grabbed Rumi by the collar and threw her off the art piece. His right hand then stretched down in front of it. That's his DI sword. Holy fuck. That's a big one. And in that ephemeral moment, the once standing art piece found itself in Norase's hand. It was no mere art piece, nor was it a cross that existed for crucifixion. It was a DI sword. It was far too monstrous to be called a sword. Savagery. Gelidity. It was a hunk of raw iron, that which sowed terror. Contaminated gospel. Chaos thoroughly complexified. A blasphemy of which to desecrate. The purest of evils, akin to the very gates of hell themselves. The hearts of those who gaze upon it would be wrenched away, luring them into the eternal eon of strife. All that was negative in this world converged into one, embodying its very shape. I gulped back all the saliva that built up in my throat. Despite everything, I made up my mind. I fixed my grip on my DI sword, which was still bound to my hand with the cord, and then I took a single step forward towards Noah too. Or more accurately speaking, I began to close the difference between Norase and myself. Speaking of distance, he had an overwhelming advantage in range over
剣
me.
で切り合うような野蛮な行為はあまり得意ではないのですね。
I don't find myself proficient in barbarous activities, especially when it comes to crossing swords. Is he gonna use delusions entirely to fuck with me?
しかし、君
Nevertheless.
からコードサンプルを手に入れる必要があります。そのために無力化しなければ。
Nevertheless, must obtain your code sample, and for me to meet that end, he must be incapacitated. Powering over me with one hand, Norase swung a DI sword even bigger than he was. The strike was so heavy, it felt as if it could pulverize any known object out there. My arm was slow to respond, even moving it slightly made pain explode throughout it. Even still forced it to do so and raised my arm. I caught the blow with my DI sword. Any normal sword would have been split right in two. And that wasn't even accounting for how unbelievably thin my sword was. It couldn't have been more different than Norase's. And yet my DI sword didn't break. Somehow I managed to parry Norase's first strike. My hand went numb. With my left hand pulverized, my balance on that side was non-existent. The stance I'd been holding collapsed. By the looks of it, he was about to send me flying. I just had to endure it. I connected with Norase's second blow. His recovery between strikes was way too fast. Don't be misled by how his sword looks, that was what I told myself. It was a battle of strength, and a sword that was far too thin and delicate, and a sword that was far too colossal and ferocious. Somehow I was holding out with it, at least for the moment. Four times our blades crossed, but this time the position of Norase's hands began to change. It looked he was clutching the guard of the sword now. And then his sword began to writhe, letting out an eerie noise. Its malleable mechanisms groaned. The blade's edge then split in two, opening into a pair of scissors that was then thrust towards my very chest. That alteration right then I came to realize it would mean the end of me. I countered, swinging my sword down in front of me, but I was too late. its forked point sink straight into my chest. A callous smile formed on Norse's lips. He loosened his grasp on the guard. My colossal scissors snapped shut. Huh. Is this sword like a... kind of reminds me of like a bottle opener. My chest, my ribs, and my lungs were all devoured. I desperately stumbled back. And right when I did that, Norse swept his arm straight across. My own fresh blood danced before my eyes. Pain spiked throughout my entire body. Even my senses were supposed to have been numbed. I was on the verge of screaming out whatever remained of my lungs, but even so, I clenched my teeth and endured it. My chest had been thoroughly minced. If not for stepping back when I did, he would have hit my heart. Massive quantities of blood continued to spray out. I nearly toppled over, but I caught myself the last second. I can't die here. I didn't come this far just to die. I ignored Norse. Instead of him, I approached Noah too, and Remy, the latter of which was collapsed on the ground. Took every fiber of my being, but I did it all the same. Taku. Raising her head from the ground, Remy looked in my direction. She was likely exhausted. There was no way her body had any strength left. As fatigue, or maybe just my injuries, continued to wear me down, my vision grew blurrier. I wasn't sure what sort of face Remy was making as she looked at me. I didn't meet her gaze. I couldn't bear for her to see me like this, bloody and beaten to a pulp. That was the sole, minuscule bit of pride I had left. Even on my deathbed, that was where I drew the line. I advanced towards Noah too. My DI sword was already within range. Oddly enough, Norse stayed behind me, ignoring that I was leaving him behind. There it is. I was wondering when they were going to trust that. All of a sudden, a cheery melody began to ring throughout the dome. You may pass. Noah too towered over me, a sound emanating from him even more shrill. Deeper than all its majesty, I sensed something incredibly strange and enigmatic moving around. For a split second, I flinched, albeit slowly, and managed to take a stance with my blade at my hip. I aimed towards Noah's too nearly organic-looking tube-covered exterior, and bulldozed it with my DI sword. That was when I noticed that some point or another Noah too had vanished from my sight. Now somehow I was standing with my back to it. I knew for a fact I'd just been trying to destroy it. There wasn't a single damn reason for me to have turned around. And yet, that was the direction I was facing. In the very center of my blurred vision, Norse was the one standing there, not Noah too. I turned myself around, swinging my DI sword at it for the second time. Except even though I'd fully intended to turn around, I hadn't. I had the will to turn myself around, and I'd even made the motion to do so, and yet the end result was one where I hadn't actually turned around. I was hit with a wave of utter confusion.
ノア2の自己防衛機能とでも言うべきものです。
One might call it Noah 2's self-defense system. Norse's quiet voice resounded from within the dome, pooling and mixing together with the melody of You May Pass.
近づく者の心に干渉し、意志を歪ませる。
It interferes with the hearts of those who approach it, distorting their wills.
ノア2には誰も近寄れません。
With the exception of myself,
私以外。
none may approach Noah 2. When he finished speaking, he leisurely walked closer to me. Then, as if it was the easiest thing to do in the world, he raised the colossal DI sword above his head. I wonder if he's going to do the trick, where he swaps Norse and talk to me. His virgin powers. I clenched my teeth. I'd lost a lot of blood. I couldn't think clearly. And though I hadn't had the slightest bit of sensation in my right hand, I shoved the pain and the fact I couldn't move it properly aside and lifted it up in a desperate attempt to deflect the next blow. And then the DI sword that somehow still remained attached to my hand with the cord was sent flying by a staggering impact. It tumbled across the floor, far, far away from me. It was astonishing seeing it off. Fixing my gaze back in front of me, I was met with Norse's sneering figure. And then, as if in warning, as if to urge my mind forward, the melody changed.
君の存在を否定してあげましょう。
Allow me to deny your existence. Norse-sans told me he was already prepared to strike again. He's about to bring that sword crashing down on me. It was all too overwhelming, all too devastating, all too brutal. That was his DI sword. It was coming down on me while I was completely unarmed. I had no way of stopping his strike. I was a sitting duck. Remy forced her way between Norse and me. A soft touch enveloped my face.
殺さないで
Don't kill Taku. I felt Remy's chest. She had wrapped her arms around me. Almost like a tender embrace. She was protecting me from Norse. Norse sighed quietly, lowering his sword. Remy had saved me once again, and I told her I was here to save her. How fucking pathetic was that? Hit with a wave of intense frustration, I slid my right hand onto her body and thrust it inside her blouse. What the fuck?
タク
The hell did... I need to read that again. No, what the hell just happened there? Tense frustration. I felt the sensation of the coarse, warm underwear of Langataku's. Did I trigger it? What the hell? Then I felt the pain of the gashes in my chest, and the pain of my amputated left hand, and the pain of my dislocated right arm, and the pain of my dysfunctional lungs. I struggled to breathe. But the warmth I felt now surely could heal all of it. What the hell? Remy's on what the... What are you... I tore off the buttons on her blouse. I ripped away the clothing that was keeping her body hidden away from me. Not cool. Exposed her bra. Taku, stop. I grabbed her tightly right through her bra, reaching her ample breast. Okay, is this biorhythm shit? Is this a delusion? With my blood-smeared right hand, I squeezed her. I rubbed her body with my blood, her bra, her bare skin. I felt its elasticity, such soft, tender skin. No. Remy writhed around and attempted to escape. I grabbed her tightly and didn't let go. I plunged my face into her breast. Her skin was so velvety, so comfortable. Velvety. It's as if it was drawing me in. Then with my free right hand, I began to grope underneath. Ugh. Stop it, Taku.
こんなの
This isn't what I want. With a gasp, I got off of her. When I realized what I'd been trying to do, I was genuinely shocked. Even though I'd gone off of her, Remy tight clutched her chest and continued to sob sadly. But she'd been protecting me. Why had I done that? Why the hell had I done that? Especially at a time like this. Why? Why was I the one making Remy cry? Truth is, you want to write Saki hotter than you don't mean. Who's saying that? My own voice echoed within my mind. Shocked, I swallowed back my saliva. What was so shocking to me, the fact that he was right? Because he'd seen through me? But who was he to begin with? It was my own voice, my inner voice, my true nature. Pass up on making her yours here, and Shogun's gonna cock you. You really want that wrinkly little shit to fuck your silly mind? You don't want to be a cock, do you? Then again, there's nothing saying he hasn't fucked her already. I mean, it's you at the end of the day, so it's win-win no matter what. Okay. I don't know. My true nature continued whispering to me. Stop it, stop saying this shit. I don't believe a single word you're saying. I'm gonna cover my ears even if I wanted to, considering my lack of a left hand. Remy was just lying there sobbing, unable to fix her messy clothes. Just seeing her face like that shattered my heart. And don't give me any of that hollow ass, it's okay, she doesn't love me back bullshit. Go on. Pretty proud. Norse doesn't seem to take issue with sparing the time to let you at it. Besides, I'm gonna die anyway. There's a rat's ass and she holds a grudge. I say die doing what I want for a change, just indulge us on the forbidden fruit, then when they understand how fucking pathetic my circumstances are, they'll go, oh well, it only makes sense, and let me off the hook. It was just a delusion, something that was a bad habit of mine. Things would take a turn for the worse if I didn't stop listening to the current would drag me away. My weak mind nature was luring me to the path of least resistance towards a really bad path, but I couldn't let it drag me away, and not now.
それに
What's
リン
more,
は僕に同情してくれてた。それ
Remy,
ならむしろやらしてくれるべきだ。
what's more, Remy actually sympathized with me. If that's not a green light to fuck her brains out, what the fuck is? Jesus.
犯せ。死ぬ前に童貞捨てようよ。
Oh my.
ダメだ！
Oh wait in hell. I screamed to shatter my weak mind to blow it straight to hell. Luckily it seemed to have worked. Remy had even stopped crying. She lowered the hands covering her face and then she glared at me with ice cold eyes.
つまんない男。
You're such a bore. What? Those few words were all I took from my to be swallowed by a cascade of dark emotions. As I swung myself at Remy. With staggering force, an enormous stake burst straight up from the concrete floor. The sharp edge of the stake pierced straight into my crotch. I couldn't comprehend what was going on. My legs were floating in the air. Even if I wanted to run away, I couldn't. The stake gradually tore its way farther and farther into my body. It was excruciatingly painful, but not enough to kill me. The stake continued to grow, lifting me a whole meter into the air. And for a movement sent a jolt of pain through my groin. I was completely unable to move. Someone saved me. I cast my pleading eyes down toward Remy. But without even looking at me, she walked straight to Norris's side, then as if exhausted all strength, she crouched to the ground. Both Norris and Remy simply stared at me, at the mortifying display. Neither of them had any form of expression as they watched, neither of them had any interest in saving me.
知っていますか？
I'm curious as to if you were aware of
かつ
this.
て拷問刑として串刺しは世界中のあちこちで用いられていました。
Impalement was once a common form of torturous punishment all throughout the
こ
world.
の拷問の特徴は
A particular characteristic of this torture
死ぬまで3日ほどかかるということです。
is that death can take up to 3 days to arrive once it begins.
自らの体重によって徐々にその杭は体に食い込んでいく。ポイントは杭の先端はそれほど尖らせないことです。
Your own weight will gradually allow the stake to sink deeper into your body. To meet this end, it is essential to make use of a stake that isn't overly sharp.
それにより臓器を傷つけることがなくなり死ぬまでの期間が伸びるわけです。
Thereby reducing injury to your internal organs and lengthening the period until your death.
最終的に杭の先端が口や肩から突き破れば処刑は終了。
Ultimately, the execution is brought to an end once the stake pierces through your mouth or shoulder.
見守っていてあげますよ。3日間
I'll be supervising this with bated breath for all 3 days,
あなた死ぬまで
until the moment you perish.
彼女も同じ考えのようです。
It seems she feels the same. Remy nodded in response to his words.
もっともその前に胸や腕の傷のせいで出血に至る方が早いかもしれません。
Although it would seem far more likely for you to die of blood loss given the wounds adorning your arms and chest. It's a delusion of delusional attack, that's what I told myself. In reality, I wasn't really impaled, I was just standing in front of Noah too. I was only hallucinating, I believed that to be true, I had to believe it. 3 days, 72 hours, 43:20 minutes, 259,200 seconds, holy fuck. I can endure it for that long, the delusion will end, it has to. I just sleep for a bit or pass out, it'd go by a lot quicker, those are my thoughts. And I couldn't do either of those things, the pain wouldn't let me. And that was exactly what made this such pure, unrelenting torture. I was gonna go insane if this went on. Even though only a moment ago I'd been thinking about trying to endure it, I'd spiraled straight into despair. Considering the extreme amount of time left before my death, despair was the sole emotion I hadn't drained directly out of me and just killed me already. I was trying to pass, I didn't see a clock, so I had no clue. I wanted to see a clock, but I knew if I did see one, the hand sluggishly tickling by would probably shatter my spirit completely. I clenched my teeth, sweat was oozing off my body in droves. Thanks to that, my throat had gone dry. I moistened it by swallowing the blood that was trickling in. Inside my body, I could feel the stick continuously shoving aside my internal organs as it wedged itself deeper into me. I could feel it very clearly, like a countdown to my inevitable death. Soon enough, it arrived at my minced chest. After that, it pierced through my throat. It skewered me straight through the mouth. The pain and shock was pushing my sanity to its limits. Pain kept me in a 5-minute cycle, passing out, waking up, and then passing back out again. I came to understand something. Every time I fainted, my body would go limp, and the stake dug into me even faster. Naturally, pain grew to incomparable levels when that happened, then it would wake me back up. Unable to move, my body writhed in torment, then I'd pass out again to escape the pain, and the gruesome cycle would repeat itself. Even when I was conscious, I was entirely in a daze. It seemed the pain had somehow faded a little too. My vision had gone dim. Was it nighttime? Not that it mattered, considering the lack of windows in the dome. I suppose it was probably because of how much blood I'd lost. Blood trickled from my chest and arms, albeit not a whole lot. If it kept dripping at me, I could die peacefully from that instead of being impaled. Realizing that, I attempted to swing around my left arm, hardly any of which remained below the elbow. But it didn't even twitch. No doubt my nerves are already dead. Is it really a delusion? When was it going to end? Would it ever actually end? What made me believe it was a delusion to begin with? How could I know it was a delusion? What if it was all reality? If I endured it, I'd just die anyway. Enduring it didn't mean shit. But I was enduring it anyway. I was stupid. Only a dumbass would do that. I was an idiot. Die. Not the haha kill yourself kind. No, actually fucking die. I should die right now. I was sick of all the pain. I was sick of all the suffering. Bite your tongue off. Do that and you'll be at peace soon after. Just let me out of here. This was all delusion, right?
死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ痛い死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ痛い死ぬ死ぬ
My chest continued to hemorrhage. I couldn't breathe. No matter how much oxygen I tried to suck in, my throat would only make a stupid wheezing sound. No matter how much oxygen... Yeah, okay. I looked down only to be met with the stake peeking through the holes in my chest. Struggling for oxygen as my mouth flapped open and shut, I violently vomited out blood. The fact that I was about to die brought me peace of mind.
そろそろですね。
Any moment now, I believe. This Norse's voice, the bastard was right in front of me. Is this how he collects code samples from me? This is the mental torture? But I couldn't see him. In fact, I couldn't see a thing. Being impaled had left me in so much agony for so long that I completely forgot about both him and Remy. I couldn't help but wonder if Remy was still close by, though it didn't really matter. I was too occupied trying to breathe. For a good while now, I'd been dedicating every nerve and every last ounce of strength towards just doing
君
that.
が無事死ぬ前に彼女を始末しておきましょう。
Before you safely pass on to the next world, allow me to dispose of the girl. I wasn't exactly sure what he was talking about, nor did I have the chance to think about it.
私を
You're going to
殺すの
kill me?
へえ、 そう
Indeed.
いうことです。
That's what I planned.
遺言をどうぞ。
Do you have any last words?
タク。タクのこと助けてあげられなかった。
Sorry, Taku. I couldn't save you. Wow. Heard Remy's final scream to the sound of someone toppling over. I imagine that Remy had just been shot and killed. I didn't feel a single ping of emotion. Something else took priority. I turned to working on breathing, and then I felt shocked at how I'd done that. What was the meaning in any of this? Why did I struggle so hard to keep on breathing? Wasn't it just too much? Something hot streamed down my cheeks. I was probably crying, but there wasn't any way to be sure of that. I tried my best to endure everything I had dealt with so far, but so close to my 3-day limit, the meaning of doing so had been entirely lost. I'm sorry, Remy. I should be the one to apologize. I couldn't protect you. There wasn't any point in living anymore. I let my body go limp. The weight of that caused my body to sink even deeper. I felt a foreign object working its way up my throat. Breathing became impossible. Something was driving itself up through me. I came back to my senses. The feeling of a foreign object in my throat disappeared. I wasn't impaled anymore. The only blood on me was from my left arm and chest. When did reality end and the delusion begin? My brain couldn't begin to process it fast enough. I didn't understand a thing about the situation. In front of me was Norase, DI sword raised.
帰ってきましたか。
Back so soon.
あなたが体験した3日間は現実では1秒しか経っていません。
The 3 days you just experienced were in fact but a single second in reality.
やっぱり妄想。
So it's just a delusion. After muttering that to myself in relief, Norse's DI sword flashed as fast as lightning. My body's top in halves. Bottom halves began to fall out of alignment. My vision fell. I sank downward even though my legs were still standing right there. Everything above my waist toppled to the floor. My torso had been cleaved clean off. The cross-section was all too beautiful to behold. I inexplicably fixed my gaze on my lower half. It's a reality I didn't want to accept, or was it just another delusion? If it was, that would have been nice. Please be a delusion. Remy was calling me. In a voice that seemed so sad, she was calling me.
その状態でも死ぬまで数分は持つはずです。
Even in that state, it'll be a number of minutes before your death.
元医師である私が言うのだから確かですよ。
As a former doctor, you have my word on that.
その間に
In the meantime,
コードサンプルを取ることに
allow
し
me
ま
to
しょう。
extract your code sample. I crawled, dragging my body away with my right hand alone. I head straight for Remy, voice. I want to feel you there, Remy. I have to save you, Remy. I dragged myself forward with my right hand, then again. I reached out, but I had no idea where Remy was. I didn't reach her. I didn't reach anything at all.
しぶとい男だ。
Such an obstinate young man. Crunch. I felt my bones grind to dust. Norse's dress shoe trampled my outstretched right hand.
さすが化け物と言うべきですか。
Or perhaps monster would be a more apt title.
そのノロセの足が蜃気楼のように揺れた。
Norse's legs waver like a mirage in the desert.
床のタイルの模様がぼんやりとし始めて、
The tile pattern on the floor begins to blur and distort.
天地が回転する。
Bottom becomes top, and top becomes bottom.
床と天井が逆になる。
The floor becomes the ceiling becomes the floor.
僕は天井に這いつくばっている。
I find myself crawling on my stomach.
両断された腰からものすごい勢いで血が吹き出す。
Staggering mad blood gushes out from my severed waistline.
限界にした蛇口のように
Like a water faucet put on full blast.
血が体から抜けていく。
The blood is draining out of my body.
そのまま腕の傷口を通って内臓までが流れ出る。
And just like that, my organs cascade out of the opening in my arm.
意識がスーッと遠くなる。
My consciousness surges far, far away,
でも完全には途切れない。
but I don't lose it completely.
血だまりができて
Blood starts to pool around me.
僕はその深紅の海に身を横たえている。
My body's lying in the sea of crimson.
ドクンドクンと鼓動する心臓が
As my heart beats,
僕の目の前に転がっていて、
it rolls onto the floor in front of me,
血だまりに波紋を作り、
forming ripples in the bloody pool.
その波紋をぼんやり見ていたら、
I watch the ripples in a daze.
僕の形が崩れた。
My shape collapses.
人としての形を維持できない。
I'm unable to maintain my shape as a person.
僕と世界との境界が消失する。
The boundary between myself and the world vanishes. Man just achieved nirvana.
肉が溶け、
My flesh melts.
骨がゴムのように曲がり、
My bones warp like rubber.
眼球は四角になり、
My eyeballs become square-shaped.
口から裏返った肺がこぼれ出し、
My inside-out lungs tumble out of my mouth.
神経は数万キロメートルも引っ張られ、
My nerves are stretched out for tens of thousands of kilometers.
脳はシワの一つ一つを丁寧に伸ばされ、
One by one, the wrinkles in my brain slowly smooth themselves out.
体はブヨブヨになる。
My body becomes a flabby blob.
空気に溶けていく。
I dissolve into the air.
右手が糸のように伸びて、
My right hand stretches as if it were made of thread.
プラネタリウムを出ていく。
It leaves the planetarium
それは飴細工のように
like a parade float.
渋谷の空をさまよって、
It wanders about the Shibuya sky,
コーネリアスタワーにくるくる
whirls around Cornelius Tower,
巻きつく。
wraps around it
何度も
again and again,
何度も
again and again,
何度も。
again and again.
別れた足が膨れてる。
My knot together legs swell up,
ブクブクと
glub glub,
水風船みたい。
like a water balloon,
パンパンに皮膚が伸びて
bulging out. My skin grows
ギチギチ音を立ててる。
and makes rubbery sounds.
液状化。
Turning into liquid.
肉も骨も
Even my flesh, even my bones,
とろけてふくらはぎに溜まってる。
they melt and clog up my calves.
腰からニョキって小さな頭が生えて、
And a little head springs out of my hip.
ぎょろりとした白い目が僕を見たよ。
It looks at his white googly eyes.
そしたら僕の頭がぐしゃって潰された。
And my head gets smashed to pieces.
どっちの頭かはよくわかんない。
Don't know which head exactly.
潰れてトロトロになって、
It's all smashed and pulpy though.
ビルの床、コンクリートの分子の隙間を抜けて、
The building's concrete floor slipped between the cracks in its molecules,
落ちていく。
falling
地上へ
to the ground.
ビューって。地面に作る
Splat on the ground.
どろりとした 脳みその水たまり。
Goopy brain puddle.
もぞもぞ、もごもご、じゅるじゅる、ドロドロ、プルプル、ビヨンビヨン、ビチャビチャ、ぐじゅぐじゅ、ぐちゃりぐちゃり。僕は二つになる。二つが四つになる。四つが八つになる。八つが四つに。二つが八つに。四つが四つに。どんどん増えて、どんどん減る。僕がいっぱい。僕がいない。僕は何？
What the fuck is even going on?
僕って何？何って僕？僕？何？何区がナボに？ナボボになくぼな。
君は妄想なんかじゃないよ。
You're more than just a delusion.
レだ。
Who? You?
見てごらん。
Look closely.
西条七海が祈る。
Shijo Nanami prays.
兄と共に収容された病院。怪我人があふれた待合室の片隅にうずくまり、
In a hospital admitted alongside her brother, curled up in a corner of a waiting room, brimming with injured souls.
実の兄のしわくちゃの手を握りしめて、
Clutching her real brother's wrinkled hand,
右手の痛みに耐
enduring
え
the
て
pain in her right hand,
目を閉じて
she closes her eyes
祈
and prays
る。もう一人の兄の無事を。
for the safety of her other brother.
楠木優愛が祈る。
Kusunoki Yua prays.
倒壊したビルの瓦礫。 答えようとしてくれた少年の無事を
For the safety of the boy who tried to grant her wish, no matter how clumsily.
咲畑リミが祈る。
Sakihata Rimi prays,
冷たい床に横たわりながら
lying on the cold floor,
彼へ伸ばした自らの手を
tightly
きつく握りしめて
clutching her own hands extended toward him.
傷だらけの彼の姿を見て感じた。締め付けられるような胸の痛みに耐え
Enduring the tightening in her chest from when she saw him covered in wounds,
て目を閉じて
she closed her eyes
祈る。
and prays.
自分が守ろうとした自分を助けに来てくれた少年の無事を
For the safety of the boy whom she swore to protect, he instead came to save her.
僕は何もできなかった。
I was unable to do anything.
君が行動したんだ。
It was you who acted.
その結果としてみんなが君のことを見てきた。
As a result, everyone has set their eyes on you.
君という周囲共通認識はとっくに出来上がっているんだ。
Mutual recognition of you has long been established.
これからは、いや、もうすでに
From this point forward, no, already,
君こそが
you are.
僕は
I am.
君は
Who are
誰
you?
僕は
I am.
その声が聞こえた瞬間に
The moment I heard that voice,
意識が僕を固定した。
my consciousness stabilized me.
ぐちゃぐちゃにかき回されていた世界が一気に収束する。
The once whirling world converged all at once.
混沌は僕の理想度を形作って収束する。
My D-eyesore took shape as a converging chaos.
僕は僕としての形に戻る。
I returned to my shape as myself.
世界は世界としての形に戻る。
The world returned to its shape as the world.
僕は僕だ。
I am me. I can see clearly now. All my wounds had healed. My top and bottom halves were connected. I was standing on my own 2 feet. The pain was entirely gone. Serenity filled my
妄
heart.
想によく打ち勝ったね。
I did well to overcome the delusion.
僕の最後の力を君に託す。
I trust you with the last of my power. I noticed Remy at the edge of my vision. She was okay. She was looking at me, tears were falling down her face. Don't cry. Summoning my strength, I grasped the eyesore tilt. I ascertained its feeling. My arms worked better than ever. I completely regenerated.
これは実に興味深いです。
My, this is quite fascinating.
この化け物。
You damn monstrosity. I focused my eyes on Norase.
確かに僕は化け物だよ。でもこれが
Sure, I'm a monster, but this is... So I can rescue Remy, so I can destroy Noah too.
僕が望んだ妄想だ。
The delusion that I wished for. Norase's response was swift. He had yet to harvest a code sample of Nishijo Takumi. The delusion was supposed to have cornered the boy and shattered his psyche, but now the tables have turned. And that he cannot allow. Norase closed the gap between himself and Takumi, taking a specific angle. He swung his D-eyesore from below. With the D-eyesore that could cleave any known object, he diagonally carved through Takumi's chest. The target's durability made no difference. killing a person with it as simple as slicing through a block of gelatin. With one quick swipe of Naruto, Takumi's body is split into pieces. His head, right arm, and right shoulder also cleanly off his body. Internal organs littered the floor without a single drop of blood followed them. While half of Takumi's body began to give way, he braced himself. He managed to plant his feet. In the following moment, the cross-section of his wound began to undulate and squirm. A bubbling noise ensued, and then he regenerated. Even though his body had been cleaved apart a mere second ago, already a new head, right arm, and shoulder had been born. His old head and internal organs remained where they had slid free from
痛
him.
覚は遮断した
I had already blocked off my sense of pain. With a single step, Takumi approached Norase. Norase clicked his tongue, then turned over his DI sword.
肉体の形を捨てたがゆえ
By virtue of casting aside their bodily form,
にいかなる形をも取れるということですか
any form whatsoever is within your means, I take it.
あんたの見せてくれた妄想のおかげだよ
You can thank the delusion you showed me for that. He was unable to retain his shape as a human being. He had taken it in the delusion and made it his own. This is not regeneration, but replacement. Missing parts are replenished, flesh and bone are produced once again, all propagating infinitely from the dust within his body. Ah, so he can't heal, he can't regenerate, but he can create duplicates of himself. Isn't that what regeneration kinda is? He's duplicating himself. His shape was not fixed. Like an amoeba, like a collection of slime, he could change himself freely. That was the reason Takumi called himself a monster. So he had to cast off his humanity in order to regenerate. Takumi took yet another step toward Norase. Norase's frustration increased. Gripping the hilt, he thrust his DI sword at the approaching Takumi. Takumi's head found itself in a colossal pair of scissors.
脳を失えば妄想はできないでしょう
Without a brain, you can't have any more delusions now, can you? Takumi's head was crushed, it split like a watermelon, blood and gray matter burst forth. Everything about the neck was gone, yet Takumi's body remained. Regeneration and replacement was instantaneous as soon as his heel hit the ground, as if nothing had happened, as if he had been entirely replaced. His head returned right to where it had been without a single scratch. Norase awakened to an understanding he could not win this fight. Physical attacks with his DI sword were useless. The delusional attack denying the boy's reason for existence had taken in and used for an ultimate purpose. The current Ishito Takumi was all too removed from human normalcy, all too distorted of an existence, all too fitting as a monster, and yet despite it all, Norase had no intention of conceding. His next thought was to utilize Noah's two powers to bombard Takumi with innumerable antiparticles. Bombarded with antiparticles could transform any known existence into negative matter, ending ultimately in self-collapse. If disruption for the surface was not viable, then collapse must be undertaken from within.
そうなんだね
You're on the right track. Norase's thoughts had been read by Takumi. The shrine of Takumi's DI sword transformed from red to black. A black flame enveloped the blade or wriggled forth, extending outward. Its shape resembled that of a dark colossal serpent.
そして現れるの
And then it shall appear. It roamed throughout the dome as if constrained by it. Toward the ceiling, towards the floor, as though it was licking them up, as though it was scraping them away. Simply consumed.
写真の黒き大地
The dark colossal serpent
あ
of
らゆる
wicked
ものを
hearts,
飲み込
of
む
being capable of devouring all corrosion.
糖質なし異質なる
Shattering the wicked heart king's body itself, and instilling heterogeneity into its homogeneity. body of a colossal serpent was composed of antiparticles. The mere touch could send any known object into self-collapse. A torrent of destruction composed of near infinite greed.
触手芸はあんまり好みじゃないけど
Can't say I'm all that fond of tentacle porn though. Oh, Takemi. This is how we know it's you. Yeah. There and then Takemi's sword. The eye sword swung, its pointed tip fixed on Norase. The dark serpent, winding itself in a coil, curved its body like a whip. Its jaws snapped at Norase.
まさかこれほどとは
Such power can't be. Not once had Norase ever seen such a phenomenon from the DI sword. You cannot discern whether it's the hidden power of all capable maniacs or merely Takemi's delusion. Dark fangs erode Norase's body. He then began to collapse all too slowly, like a frog slowly dissolving into the belly of a snake. Darkness swallowed him. He felt no pain. By nature, his death should have been instant. That's not what Takemi wished for. Realizing this, Norase's lip twisted into a derisive smile. Norase had no fear of death. One could say that the ideals he pursued had been accomplished with the completion of Noah 2.
私を殺してもノア2には誰も近づけない
Even if you kill me, no other person can approach Noah 2.
永久期間なんですよそれは
Perpetual motion machine, that is what you're dealing with. How?
人類を未来永劫にわたって管理し続ける
Its administration over humanity will last until the end of time.
ただ座して眺めているだけではない人の幸福のために干渉してくる人工の神なのです
It does not merely sit idle and watch from afar. Rather, it is a man-made god which interferes for the sake of mankind's happiness. Norase was God's inventor, so to speak, so as long as Noah 2 continued to exist, mankind would not perish, and the eternal utopia Norase sought would become real. However,
あんたなら
but you
近づけるんでしょ
can approach it, can't you? What? The serpent's body wriggled and writhed with Norase in its grasp, lifting his body into the
それ
air.
ならあんたは鍵だ
If that's the case, then you're the key. Norase was astonished, but soon enough his face changed to an expression of pure agony. The serpent swung about his body with ease. Takemi shot a glance at Remy, their eyes met. Just what was Remy feeling as she watched him, reading her mind. It had been effortless, and yet Takemi did nothing of the sort. It seemed I was able to save you after all. He quickly averted his eyes. His gaze then shifted to the still humming Noah 2, the throne of God where none could stand foot, a cradle which showed naught but dreams of bliss.
ごめん
I'm sorry. He apologized to no one in particular.
僕は人類にとっての敵かも
I very well might be an enemy of humanity. Eternal utopia this device would have brought. Future without conflict. Takemi would extinguish them with his own two hands. Is that right or is it wrong? Takemi cannot give the answer to that.
でも神話でもよくあるでしょ
But it's pretty common in
神だって
mythology.
女絡みでうだうだやってる
Even gods tend to slack off when women are involved.
だから僕も
That's why I, too, will sacrifice the happiness of mankind to have love for her girl. Takemi, the eye sword in hand, bent his arms in a giant arc.
破れ
Break through. Thrust it forth just like a javelin across the serpent darkness, charged straight ahead. The bait-nosed Norase impaled in its tip and flew straight towards Noah 2. An enormous serpent of anti-particles capable of terminating any known object. It had no will of its own, thus it was not something that could have been warped nor distorted. The gritty impulse to destroy, using Norase as the key, the delusional barrier, is easily smashed to pieces. When had the rain begun to fall? There just been a huge explosion. And its blast blew my body away like it was nothing more than a rag doll. Next thing I knew, I found myself lying here. Those eyes were always watching me. The stare pierced through the thick, pitch black rain clouds and poured down on me like rain. Don't look at me. My body couldn't stop shivering, not from the chill of the rain, but rather the ice-cold rubble against my back. So terribly cold. A gaze pierced me from the heavens. Who it belonged to, I couldn't say. As if to escape it, I raised my head to look at the environment around me. There I saw a ruined city. There I saw despair. There I saw death. There I saw nothingness. Not a soul was there. Not a soul was moving. Not a soul was left alive. The only thing I could hear was the sound of the rain continuing to pour. At this rate, everything, both the living and the dead, would all be gently embraced and washed away. How nice would it be if all this was just a delusion, but that didn't seem to be the case. I couldn't move my body. I could only move my eyes and neck, and even then just barely. I couldn't use that monstrous power from before. My body was shivering. That was nothing more than this physiological phenomenon. It wasn't happening by my own will. I didn't want my body to tremble. If I couldn't move it freely, then it wasn't my body. Or maybe I never had free will ever since I was born. Nobody knows exactly where the soul resides. Bearing that in mind, how could anyone say that there's a soul inside this body of mine? But then where exactly was I now? Was I really here? Was I anywhere at all? In this shadow world where all stood still, where all that could be heard was the rain of death, suddenly another sound echoed through it. A solitary existence began to emerge from the sea of nothingness. Who are you? Is your skin so pale? Because it had been numbed by the chill of the rain? Or is it because you're already dead? And yet the girl wasn't shivering. And those eyes of hers nearly hidden by her bangs. Don't look at me. They looked so terribly sad. They looked as if they held a hint of madness. They looked as if they reflected nothing. If she and I were the only ones left in the world. If we stared at each other's eyes like this for all eternity. Would my world be reduced to reflections in her eyes? Would her world be reduced to reflection in my eyes? The only thing reflecting in her eyes was me. The only thing reflecting in my eyes was her. And I thought of it that way, the world immediately seemed so much smaller. Hey. Suddenly a flash of static reached my ears, one endlessly beautiful yet deeply discordant. She lowered her head and spread her arms wide, almost as if preparing to take off, to soar high above the rain clouds. or as if trying to catch all the falling rain.
あなたを見つめる
All that's watching you
妄想
is a delusion. From where I was on the ground, I couldn't see the expression on that lowered head of hers. Behind this thin veil of rain, just what kind of face are you making? I'll put you to rest now. An angel? Are those dancing feathers of light blessing me? Or... Ah, I see. I finally understand. Just going to use that to kill me. The girl slowly kneeled to the ground for my collapsed body, with her head still lowered. She gently took my own in her hands. I surrendered my body to her grasp. I was just relieved that she wasn't looking at me.
殺さなくちゃ
Put you to rest now.
いけないの
In my ear heard a whisper, garbled by static. It was as beautiful as it was a squirt. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
ごめんね
There's nothing to apologize for. If I don't disappear, the other me, the real me, will die. So that's why I'm okay with this. In fact, I'm really glad I get to be erased by you. It's not a bad end for a monster like me. I don't have any regrets. A warm, soft, gentle, sweet sensation. Miraculously, as if it were an anesthetic, the shiver in my body slowly began to die down. Her soft breath tickled my cheeks. It smelled so sweet. Suddenly, I sensed something pressing against my chest. The large sword she held tore through my skin, poured into my flesh, weaved through my bones. It slowly sank through to the center of my body. Let's skip the dialogue. Okay. But gifted with the anesthesia of Arceus, I never felt any pain. I would never have imagined that I would get such a kind death. Just the thought of it broke my heart, leaving me on the verge of tears. Trying to hide them, I looked past the girl's head and up towards the ashen sky where the rain continued to pour.